For 7-time Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton, passion for automobiles has led him to amass a car collection valued around $16.5 million. From custom-built masterpieces to track-dominating beasts, his garage is every enthusiast's dream. Get ready for an exclusive look inside Lewis Hamilton's Hypercar collection. You'll be wowed at number 5. The wildest and most outrageous machine in Lewis Hamilton's collection is the Pagani Zonda 760 LH. Built specifically for him, this one-of-a-kind hypercar is an absolute beast with a 750 horsepower naturally aspirated V12 that screams like a banshee. But what makes this car truly special isn't just its power or exclusivity. It's the fact that Hamilton, one of the most talented drivers in history, absolutely hated driving it. He once called it terrible to drive, not because it lacked power or excitement, but because its handling was a bit of a nightmare. Yet despite its less than perfect driving dynamics, Hamilton still adored the car. The deep purple exterior and interior were chosen specifically for him, and in true purist fashion, he opted for a manual transmission instead of the usual sequential gearbox. This car had quite a history under Hamilton's ownership. Back in 2015, he crashed it in Monaco, adding a bit of battle damage to its legacy. Then, in 2022, he decided to cash in. The Zonda 760 LH was auctioned off for over $11 million, proving just how valuable these ultra-rare Paganis have become. But the story doesn't end there. The new owner took it out for a drive in scenic Wales, and let's just say, it didn't go well. The multi-million-dollar hypercar ended up kissing a wall, and the whole thing was caught on dashcam. The driver was fine, but his pride in his Pagani took a serious hit. Maybe this car was always meant to stay in Hamilton's hands after all. Before we move on to the next car, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss out on more exclusive access to this type of hypercar collection. The legendary LaFerrari is Ferrari's answer to the hypercar wars. It was the fastest car in Hamilton's collection, and it's an absolute rocket ship. We're talking about a machine that can go from 0 to 60 in just 2.4 seconds and hit a top speed of 217 miles per hour. That's the kind of speed that makes your face melt. Every serious car collector dreams of owning one, and Hamilton managed to get his hands on one of the best. His LaFerrari is finished in classic Ferrari red and even features his personal logo on the bodywork. Here's the wild part. Hamilton bought this beast while racing for Mercedes. Most drivers would probably avoid buying a car from a direct competitor, but Hamilton doesn't play by the rules. What makes the LaFerrari so special is its hybrid powertrain. Ferrari combined a monstrous 6.3-liter V12 with an electric motor to create a total output of 950 horsepower. This thing isn't just fast, it's brutally fast. It's the kind of car that makes other supercars look slow. If you ever wondered what it feels like to drive an F1 car for the road, this is about as close as it gets. That's why you'll find this car in the garages of some of the biggest names in sports, including soccer stars like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Son Heung-min. But let's be real, none of them can handle it like Hamilton can. As if one LaFerrari wasn't enough, Hamilton also owns the ultra-rare LaFerrari Aperta, the convertible version of Ferrari's hybrid hypercar. Only 210 of these were ever made, and getting one is no easy feat. Ferrari doesn't just sell these to anyone. You had to be personally selected by the company, which means Hamilton was handpicked to own one of these masterpieces. His Aperta is finished in a stunning white paint job, making it stand out even more than the standard LaFerrari. With the roof off, you get to hear that screaming V12 in all its glory. Trust us, this car sounds like a rolling symphony of horsepower. Here's where things get even crazier. The last LaFerrari Aperta ever made sold for a jaw-dropping $100 million at auction. Another one sold online for $5.3 million, making it one of the most expensive cars ever sold on the internet. Hamilton himself admitted in an interview that he could probably make a massive profit if he decided to sell his, but he refuses to let it go. He calls his LaFerraris his babies and art pieces, and honestly, we don't blame him. These cars are masterpieces. The Aperta is powered by the same 6.3-liter V12 and electric motor combo as the coupe, meaning it produces a mind-boggling 950 horsepower. But with the top off, the driving experience is even more intense. One of the coolest things about this car? Hamilton has been spotted driving it around Los Angeles, just casually cruising in one of the rarest hypercars ever built. Most owners keep these tucked away in climate-controlled garages, but Hamilton actually drives his. That's the kind of flex money can't buy. Another one of Hamilton's prized possessions is the McLaren P1, a hybrid hypercar that's as rare as it is ridiculously fast. Back in 2015, Hamilton splashed out a cool $2.4 million on this beast, proving that his love for McLaren didn't end when he left their F1 team. Under the hood, the P1 packs a 3.8-liter twin-turbo V8 engine paired with an electric motor, delivering a jaw-dropping 903 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque. Translation? This thing flies. Top speed is 217 miles per hour. It goes 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds, and it's got more power than most people will ever need. But Hamilton isn't most people. The carbon fiber monocage structure makes it twice as strong as titanium, and those movable front and rear wings can generate up to 600 pounds of downforce, basically gluing the car to the road. Then there's the race-active chassis control, a fancy way of saying the car adjusts itself based on road conditions to maximize performance. Braking is just as impressive. With ceramic carbon brake discs that absorb 50% more energy than standard ceramic rotors, stopping power is next level. Plus, the brake steer system tightens the car's turn by applying brake force to the inner rear wheel, making it handle like an F1 car. Add in features like the instant power assist system and drag reduction system, and this thing is practically a road-legal race car. Only 375 P1s were ever made, and every single one is already spoken for. If there's any car that's the symbol of Lewis Hamilton, it's the Mercedes-AMG 1. Hamilton didn't just buy one, he was heavily involved in its development. Makes sense, considering it runs on the same engine that's powered him to multiple world championships. The AMG 1 is powered by a 1.6-liter turbocharged V6 hybrid engine, the exact same tech used in Mercedes' F1 cars. Alongside 4 electric motors, this monster cranks out over 1,000 horsepower, sending it rocketing to 217 miles per hour with a 0 to 60 time under 2.6 seconds. Unlike most supercars, this one isn't just about straight-line speed. It's built to carve through corners like a track weapon. Hamilton got his hands on one in 2021, a year before its official release. Perks of being Mercedes' golden boy. He even hinted at developing a Lewis Hamilton edition, which, knowing him, would likely be even faster, louder, and packed with insane upgrades. If it ever sees production, it's going to be one of the most sought-after hypercars in history. Only 275 units of the AMG 1 exist, each costing around $2.7 million. But here's the kicker, the owners had to sign a contract promising they wouldn't flip their car for a quick profit. Mercedes knew this car would skyrocket in value, and they didn't want it turning into an auction house free-for-all. Beyond the numbers, the AMG 1 is a car built for pure unfiltered driving pleasure. It's got an adaptive suspension, advanced aerodynamics, and an all-wheel drive system designed to give insane grip. The interior? Minimalist but packed with tech, with race-inspired seats and a steering wheel straight out of an F1 car. Hamilton describes the AMG 1 as the closest thing to an F1 car for the road. Now, here's where things get interesting. You'd think a guy who's been with Mercedes for years wouldn't be caught dead owning a Ferrari. But Hamilton isn't just any guy, and his collection wouldn't be complete without at least one prancing horse. Only 8 of these beauties exist, and Hamilton reportedly dropped over $2.5 million to get one. Only 80 of these beauties exist, and Hamilton reportedly dropped over $2.5 million to get one. The SA Aperta is basically a roadster version of the Ferrari 599 GTB, but with way more exclusivity and an open-top experience. Under the hood, there's a naturally aspirated 6-liter V12 pushing out 661 horsepower, enough to send it from 0 to 60 in just over 3.5 seconds. Ferrari built the SA Aperta to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Pininfarina, the legendary design house responsible for some of the most iconic Ferraris ever. The SA in the name pays tribute to Sergio and Andrea Pininfarina, the masterminds behind Ferrari's best road cars. In other words, this car is a rolling piece of history. Each of the 80 models was custom built to the owner's specifications, meaning no two are exactly alike. Hamilton's version? Probably one of the most unique. Inside, it's all luxury premium leather, carbon fiber accents, and a driver-focused cockpit that makes you feel like you're in something truly special. The soft top roof is more of an emergency backup than a real feature. The 599 GTO is a legend, a fire-breathing V12-powered beast built for the road but born on the track. It's a car that only 599 lucky souls got to call their own, and one of those was none other than 7-time Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton. Back in 2010, he ordered his 599 GTO straight from the Ferrari factory. Not through a dealer, not secondhand. He went straight to the source and got it exactly the way he wanted. No classic Rosso Corso red for him. Instead, he went full stealth mode with an all-black spec. Under the hood, the car holds a naturally aspirated 6-liter V12, screaming all the way to 8,250 RPM and producing a wild 661 horsepower. That's enough to push this Italian stallion to a blistering top speed of 210 miles per hour. It wasn't just about power though. Ferrari shaved 220 pounds off the standard 599 GTB Fiorano, making the GTO sharper, faster, and more responsive. With lightning-quick shifts from its F1-derived gearbox and a chassis honed on the Nürburgring, this was a Ferrari that demanded respect. Hamilton? He knew exactly how to handle it. Today, the 599 GTO is one of the most sought-after modern Ferraris. Prices have skyrocketed well past the original $400,000 sticker price, with some examples fetching north of $700,000. If there's one car that defines holy grail status, it's the McLaren F1, the world's fastest production car of the 90s. A car so advanced, so ahead of its time, that even today it's regarded as one of the finest automobiles ever built. Lewis Hamilton? Of course he had to have one. His love affair with the F1 started way back when he joined McLaren's Formula One team in 2007. He laid eyes on an orange McLaren F1 at the McLaren Technology Center and told then team boss Ron Dennis that he wanted one. Dennis made him a deal. If Hamilton won the F1 World Championship and McLaren secured the Constructors' title, he'd get the car. Hamilton did his part, taking the championship in 2008, but McLaren fell short in the Constructors' race. Still, Hamilton never forgot about the F1. Nearly a decade later, in 2017, he finally got his hands on one, the legendary Chassis 044. The price? A cool $16.92 million. Small change, right? So why is the McLaren F1 such a big deal? It's a marvel of engineering. A 6.1-liter naturally aspirated V12 producing 620 horsepower. It had a top speed of 240 miles per hour, a record it held for years. But it's not just about speed. The F1 was built with no compromises, lightweight carbon fiber construction, a central driving position like an F1 car, and a driving experience so pure that modern hypercars still struggle to match it. Hamilton's Chassis 044 was extra special. Not only was it one of just 64 road-going versions ever made, but the number 44 just so happened to match the number on his Formula One car. Fate? Maybe. But either way, it was the ultimate addition to his collection. Prices for the McLaren F1 have continued to climb. In 2021, one sold for over $20 million, making it one of the most expensive road cars ever auctioned. Safe to say, Hamilton made a solid investment. You'd think after driving some of the world's fastest race cars, Hamilton would get tired of high-performance machines. Not a chance. The man loves speed, and the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Black Series was right up his alley. The standard SLS AMG was already a beast. A naturally aspirated 6.2-liter V8 with a thundering exhaust note and those iconic gull-wing doors. But Mercedes wasn't done. In 2014, they cranked everything up to 11 and gave us the Black Series. Everything up to 11 and gave us the Black Series. More power, less weight, sharper handling. That's the Black Series formula. Hamilton got his hands on one during his second season with Mercedes-AMG's Formula One team, and it quickly became one of his go-to cars. With 622 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of just 3 seconds, it was brutally quick. The sound was like thunder cracking through the sky. Mercedes-AMG slashed the weight by nearly 150 pounds, stiffened the suspension, and fitted an aggressive aero package. The result was a car that felt as raw and as unforgiving as an F1 machine, but still civilized enough for a quick blast down the freeway. Today, the SLS AMG Black Series remains a dream car for enthusiasts. Prices have shot up, with some fetching over $500,000. This beast is one of the most ferocious road-legal machines ever made, and Lewis Hamilton happens to own one. He didn't just buy it either, he won it at the 2010 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Pretty sweet trophy, right? Hamilton himself has called the SL65 Black Series a beast, and that's no exaggeration. Under the hood, there's a monstrous 6-liter twin-turbocharged V12 churning out a staggering 661 horsepower and 731 pound-feet of torque. That's enough brute force to launch this coupe from 0 to 60 in just 3.6 seconds. Not too shabby for a car that tips the scales at around 4,100 pounds. But Mercedes-AMG didn't just stop at giving this thing insane horsepower, they stripped it down to make it lighter, ditching the retractable hardtop for a fixed carbon fiber roof, widening the stance, and adding a massive rear wing to keep all that power in check. The result? A car that not only hauls like a bat out of hell, but sticks to the pavement like glue. Now, Lewis Hamilton knows a thing or two about aerodynamics, and his Black Series is no exception. It's a super GT level performance machine with all the aggressive styling and insane handling you'd expect from something bred for the track. It's not just about speed, it's about how it feels when you drive it. That's why Hamilton calls it the way cars should be. Only 350 of these monsters were ever built, making it a true collector's item. This one's legendary. The Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren is the perfect fusion of Formula One technology and grand touring luxury. Hamilton has had plenty of seat time in this masterpiece, whether it was taking it up the Goodwood Festival of Speed hill climb or throwing it around a wet Silverstone circuit at the SLR 722. Back in the mid-2000s, Mercedes and McLaren were at the top of their game in F1, and they wanted to build something that would reflect that dominance. So, they made a car that packed a hand-built 5.5-liter supercharged V8, cranking out 650 horsepower. This thing could hit 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds and rip up the tarmac to a top speed of 220 miles per hour. The body was made almost entirely out of carbon fiber, making it lighter and stiffer than most supercars of its time. The brakes? Carbon ceramic, so it could stop as brutally as it could accelerate. Let's not forget the active aerodynamics, including a pop-up air brake that could stop the car on a dime. One of the coolest things about this car is how it blends luxury with sheer performance. While other supercars strip everything down to the bare essentials, the SLR McLaren has a lavish interior, a smooth automatic transmission, and even cup holders. But don't let the comfort fool you, this car was born from racing DNA. Today, the SLR McLaren stands as one of the greatest collaborations between Mercedes and McLaren. It was the hypercar before hypercars were a thing, and Hamilton's time behind the wheel only adds to its legendary status. What's better than an SLR McLaren? An SLR McLaren without a roof. The 722S Roadster is what happens when you take an already insane supercar and make it even more exclusive. Hamilton played a key role in promoting this model, and it's easy to see why. It's one of the most ridiculously over-the-top cars ever built. The 722S Roadster keeps the 5.5-liter supercharged V8, but now it's putting out 641 horsepower and 605 pound-feet of torque. A 0 to 60 time of 3.8 seconds and a top speed of 206 miles per hour. Keep in mind, this is a convertible. Most drop tops lose a lot of rigidity and performance when you remove the roof, but not this one. Thanks to Mercedes' carbon-reinforced composite monocoque chassis, the 722S Roadster still delivers razor-sharp handling and an ultra-responsive drive. One of the standout features of the SLR 722S Roadster is its braking system. It uses Mercedes Sensotronic brake-by-wire technology, carbon ceramic discs, and an automatic air brake. What does that mean? It means this car can go from 120 miles per hour to a dead stop in under 240 feet. That's race car level stopping power. The design is just as mind-blowing. Hamilton's personal model was decked out in crystal laurite silver metallic, paired with an exclusive red silver arrow leather interior. The whole thing just screams sophistication and speed. Even the fabric soft top was carefully designed to reduce wind noise and maintain the car's aerodynamic profile. Only 670 units of the SLR McLaren Roadster were ever built, making it a seriously rare machine. That's a wrap on our exclusive tour of Lewis Hamilton's jaw-dropping hypercar collection. Which of his insane rides would top your list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this look at one of the most incredible hypercar collections in the world, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more exclusive content, and ring the bell so you never miss what's coming next.